Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about their new Star Wars movies and the new Star Wars TV shows that are currently in development over at Lucasfilm. That's really going to expand the entire Star Wars universe. We already have a dozen or so Star Wars projects that are currently in the works at the same exact time between George, Jon, and Dave, so you can only really imagine exactly how busy these guys really are behind the scenes. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do make sure to post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further as well. Now, on top of all of this, we have a lot of things that are currently developing as we speak between Lucasfilm, Disney, and especially how Bob Chapek is very involved with what George, Jon, and Dave are developing with, of course, all these different eras, all these different types of Star Wars lore that are now coming to life, with the return of Star Wars Legends combining with the Disney canon. There's a lot at play here, and there's a lot at work between these three and how they're really trying to bring Star Wars back in action and really building things from the ground up. So when we look at, of course, Jon Favreau, we obviously know that he's very passionate. He believes in every word that he says when it comes to Star Wars. He wants to make the fans happy. However, there has been some unfortunate turn of events that actually has been happening with one of the major Star Wars TV shows, one of the major Star Wars projects that Jon Favreau is also involved in, along with Dave Filoni, and exactly what's going on with that and how it involves one of the major characters known, of course, simply as Darth Vader. Now, on top of all of this as well, we already know that Bob Chapek is really involved with what Jon and Dave are currently doing on all these new Star Wars shows, all of the new Star Wars lore. However, given that both Disney and Lucasfilm are currently developing their new Star Wars projects right now that will be announced at Celebration, both Favreau and Filoni are getting ready to begin filming the Ahsoka Tano series with Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker by this April. However, it's described that Disney CEO Bob Chapek is currently having Jon Favreau change something major in one of the new Star Wars TV shows for Disney Plus that Favreau recently found a drastic mistake in the series. Now, it's described that there was a major lore mistake that was implemented into the upcoming second season of The Bad Batch that involves a crucial mistake for characters like Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. Now, it's said that currently Favreau is having trouble with one of the later episodes of the series on how they can edit the episode in the best scenario to fix the problem. In the worst case scenario, Jon Favreau may have to cut out an entire episode of The Bad Batch with Dave Filoni that holds a big problem with the development of Darth Vader as a character and Palpatine. Now, this crucial mistake is said to have something to do with Vader's character and how he ties later into the Kenobi TV series. Now, it's described that for The Bad Batch Season 2, there is a major plot element that will hold ties with the Kenobi show, and recently one of the biggest mistakes have been discovered within the second season that would create issues later with the Kenobi TV series for Disney+. Now, the issue is said to have something around the lines of Darth Vader sensing Obi-Wan Kenobi too early on in one of the episodes of The Bad Batch that will be explored, and that the Kenobi series is setting it up that Vader does not sense Vader until 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. So let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, I don't know how this kind of flew past Favreau and Filoni's mind and how they made this mistake, but things happen. Let's be honest. Things happen regardless, you know, everybody's human at the end of the day. You're going to eventually run into some mistakes, but one this large, I believe, is tying directly into why we are not really hearing all that much about The Bad Batch and its official release date. Now, we know that initially Lucasfilm was aiming for a spring of this year release that could range anywhere from April until early June. And if they really wanted to make that window, right, they would have had to begin marketing by the end of March into early April, you know, give or take. And we're already in early March now, and it really raises a lot of questions as to what's going on with The Bad Batch. Now, mind you, there's a lot of fans out there that strictly only like animated material, And a mistake this large could have very well created a lot of problems. So now Jon Favreau is having a lot of trouble with the Bad Batch with Dave Filoni, and trying to really figure out what to do. Best case scenario, like I say, is to just edit one of the scenes out and really kind of leave it in there, and the episode will seem a little scattered. The worst case scenario is taking out the entire episode from the series, which, by the way, is what it's leaning towards. We'll get into that in just a second. Obviously, a lot of fans didn't really like The Bad Batch Season 1. A lot of fans thought it was very boring and slow-paced and just very bland, to say the least. Now, there's also a lot of fans that enjoy The Bad Batch, and that's perfectly fine. I myself thought that The Bad Batch was a very average Star Wars animated series. It in no way, shape, or form, for me at least, stacks up against the Clone Wars or Rebels. It just doesn't. In my book, at least, it does not. So, moving on from this, alright? Now, this is something that both Favreau and Deborah Chow are now talking about behind the scenes and trying to fix the issue. By the way, Deborah Chow is the director of the Kenobi show. The worst case scenario is labeled as where they will be forced to either take out or erase one of the entire episodes of a very large scene, of course, from the Bad Batch Season 2 that would drastically decrease the running time of one of the episodes that involves Vader and Palpatine, and how it all ties directly in with Obi-Wan Kenobi's show. Now, this is something that Favreau has been trying to fix for the past week now, surprisingly, and it's beginning to look more and more likely that Favreau and Filoni will indeed end up erasing one of the episodes of The Bad Batch to save the trouble and to prevent further delays for the series. This could very well explain why the marketing has been lacking for The Bad Batch Season 2 lately, where currently Favreau is also helping Deborah Chow with some of the Kenobi episodes on the lore that will be unveiled in the series to the fans, and how they too, of course, and that too involves Darth Vader. Now, Disney CEO Bob Chapek is said to be very involved with this issue and trying to come to terms with a major fix that would actually work it all out. Now, obviously, everything ranging from The Bad Batch Season 2 to the Kenobi TV series, both of these TV shows serve as a bridge between Episode 3 and Episode 4. So, The Bad Batch is more closer to Revenge of the Sith, where the Kenobi series is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So you're going to see a 10-year-old Leia, a 10-year-old Luke, and a 10-year-old older version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. We have already seen that he's got the long hair in the poster. You know, you got a lot of Attack of the Clones vibes going over there with Kenobi's hair design, right? Now, when you look at everything related to that, though, of how this major mistake could have a big consequence on how fans view the Kenobi series and how Darth Vader reacts to sensing Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Bad Batch Season 2, where in reality, he's not going to sense Obi-Wan again or even get an idea that he's alive until the Kenobi show. So that's the major mistake that Favreau and Filoni are now dealing with. To be honest, it really is looking like this episode's going to be dropped. Does that mean that we're going to have no Vader and or Palpatine in the series? That's a big question for sure. You know, is this the only episode featuring them? We're not quite sure about that just yet. But it is looking like The Bad Batch Season 2 is trying to ramp things up and bringing in more of the iconic villains. You know, you got Cad Bane coming back. You've got, of course, in this scenario, at least for this episode, Vader and Palpatine. But we'll have to wait and see. So overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.